Yeah.
Hello, hello. Good evening. I guess this is your drive time DJs on a show with no name. I'm Marlon Weems, and I'm here with my man Arturo Dominguez, publisher of the decolonized. I guess, man, declassified that might work too, but
Yeah, it might work. Yeah.
decolonized journalism. And I publish the Journeyman newsletter, both of us on Substack. But these days we're everywhere. So
Yeah.
welcome. We got a lot to talk about, and most of it's bad.
Yeah.
But I
As usual.
promise, we're going to end on a high note. I promise. So anyway, as folks sort of file into the chat room, Arturo, what's going on your end, man? You're in Texas, so I know y'all
Man,
got stuff going on.
man, we just had the runoff for the primaries with Paxton and John Cornyn. And, it's I on it, you're talking lesser of two evils. I would have preferred John Cornyn, but they're going up against Tallarico, so I don't give a damn who it is, really.
You know what, man? I have to give Tallarico a little bit of credit. I
Yeah.
have seen some of his comebacks on folks, and dude, I don't know. He's been studying up, man, because they're saying stuff about him, and he's fighting back, with some
Yeah, I
snappy
mean,
comments and stuff.
some of the stuff they're saying about him is just dumb. Like you could tell that Ken Paxton was trying to find
He trying
something.
to they're going to
Yeah,
old reliable trans people,
right.
they're
And like the whole idea they keep saying that he's like, I don't know, gonna be detrimental to Christianity or something like that. I'm just like,
it's like,
whatever,
man,
dude.
if you
Yeah,
don't get your
you guys.
criminal ass up out of here.
And then they're saying he's a vegan because he ordered a potato, egg, and cheese taco. And I guess
Man,
they don't know that vegans don't eat dairy or poultry. So,
well,
because
knowledge is not really what
well,
they're
that's
known
true.
for. They're not really known for like being deep thinkers. You know what I'm
Yeah, it's
saying?
not their strong suit. That's for sure.
So
That's for
yeah,
sure.
it's going to be interesting because it just seems to me that Trump may have just blown up Texas.
Yeah, I
I, I
mean,
mean, think about it. Cornyn. I mean, I didn't dislike the guy. I mean, he seemed like just a sort of a normal old school Republican, but and really that's what made it so bad because you could see he was really struggling trying to be MAGA, trying to say all the right,
right.
gonna name
Yeah.
a freeway after Trump, just
Yeah.
something.
What I thought was funny was when Trump endorsed Ken Paxton, uh Cornyn was just continuing to run ads about he's more MAGA than Paxton, and the whole time Trump is talking trash about him, and
And I know,
it really made him look bad and weak. It really
man,
did.
I don't understand this whole phenomenon of grown ass men
Oh, I
being
know.
scared of like dude, there are some men I'm scared of, but ain't none of them 80.
Well,
ain't,
that's true.
ain't none of them 80 years old. Okay. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, can somebody not just like pop off on this guy? I mean, what does he have on them? Right.
Yeah. I mean,
Anyway, man,
I don't get it.
I don't either. Well, folks, we're going to kick this thing off and we'll see you on the other side. We got a lot to talk about on a show with no name. All right, all right, all right. It's my best Matthew McConaughey, man.
Right.
Listen, every time I do one of these shows, I always think, okay, so what's it going to be? I don't want it to always be Trump did this or he did, because it just at a certain point, I'm tired of talking about him.
Right.
But, with that said, this guy is spending money like crazy. And I mean, it's real easy when it's not your money. But my
I was about to say
goodness,
that.
my goodness, man, this guy is, I mean, how many different things he got going on right now? He's got the reflecting pool that he done just tore up the White House. I mean, just
Dude, that thing looks
and
like a circus, bro.
dude, what is that big dome
That's
thing
for the
that's going?
UFC. The UFC fight. It's gonna be on
Okay,
the what? Yeah,
what?
yeah. Well,
Wait a minute. Are you talking
there's
about
nothing
like
like trailer park in the White House, man. Come on.
okay, I I got a story for everything, man. When you said that, so Mike Huckabee used to be the governor of Arkansas.
Right.
Okay. So Mike Huckabee is also from Hope, Arkansas, which is where Bill Clinton is from. Mike Huckabee wasn't just like Trump. He wasn't planning on being governor. He ran for lieutenant governor. The guy who was the governor, the Democrat, got out there and did, broke the law, did some fraudulent stuff, whole nother story, and had to resign. So now all of a sudden, Mike Huckabee is the governor of Arkansas. The countryest people you ever seen in your life. That's what's so funny about him now. He's what, ambassador to Israel?
Yeah, right.
Dude,
Way above his pay grade.
talk about not seeing something coming. This guy, and I am not making this up, in the governor's mansion, they had to do some renovations for, it's old. It's an old building like all these places. Do you know, rather than, I think somebody may have even offered them like a house, a place they could live while all this construction was going on. They brought a damn mobile home and set it on the lawn of the governor's mansion. That's what they did, man. So apparently this is what Republicans strive for, man. If I can just get in there, I am going to country this thing up. It's just incredible.
A lot of people were like, they showed pictures of the White House lawn with the big dome thing, whatever. And a lot of people started showing these pictures of what, like, it looks like basically in Main Street in most towns in America with all the McDonald's signs and you know what I mean? And there's all these billboards and it's just a mess when you're driving down the road. And I'm like, I mean, it's what it looks like.
But you remember like when the first time Trump ran for office, there were all these cartoons with like the White House all gold and dollar sign, like for sale signs going, and everybody was laughing.
Right.
But I guess
right here we are.
They were probably giving him ideas.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. So like I said, when it's not your money, it's real easy to spend. Okay. Yeah. So what we got here is where all the money is coming from to do all these vanity projects.
I've been wondering.
Okay, well, now we know. He's apparently been robbing the National Park Service. Okay. And I tell you, to the tune, according to this article, hang on a second. According to this, actually, wrong one. I'll get it straight, folks. There we go. So, National Park Service is using at least $67 million worth of park entrance fees. So that's the money, like you go to Yellowstone, I guess you pay. So they're saying that nearly $60 million in fees paid by visitors to national parks is funding repairs to 9 of the Capitol's ornamental fountains.
Wow.
I mean,
just the fountains.
But you understand, man.
Yeah.
That money is supposed to go to the parks for upkeep and paying folks, I would assume. And yeah, this guy, I can see why his companies go bankrupt now. I mean, he's spending money like crazy.
Right. And if it wasn't for taxpayer
and it's not on us. That's the key.
Right.
He's not spending it on us.
Right. And if it wasn't for taxpayer dollars, there'd be a lot of unpaid contractors right now. You know what I mean?
I saw something a couple of months ago. I don't know if it's been resolved, but I want to say it was right after he tore down the East Wing. Like maybe the contractor, he didn't pay him. There was some contractors that were like, we sent you an invoice. What's going on?
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me.
I know. It's like, Yeah, well, what? What about it? Just one
Yeah.
more guy he didn't pay.
Right. And again, it's just like somebody said in the comments, it's all one big grift, right? The same
It's
thing with, yeah, I
after a
mean, you know,
while, we're gonna have to stop calling this a grift because this has gone way beyond just, you know, remember that movie, The Grifters? It was like back in the
yeah,
80s, maybe. That's the first time I ever heard that word.
yeah,
And I want to say it was like Angelica Houston and dang, what's her name?
yeah.
It,
I don't
you
remember it
know, it's
all.
been a long time ago, but
Yeah.
the point is they were, you know, generally it's like a little con, you know, a little confidence scheme. This this dude is putting a dent in the national debt, man. I mean, he's
Right.
adding to it. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like a
And
lot of money we're talking about here.
yeah, you know, it annoys me. Like, you hear people talk about otherworldly, look at them, their families and the president's family. They're living all this lavish lifestyle while their people suffer. I'm like, have you been looking around? Because I think that's kind of what's happening here right now. You know,
Man,
the ballroom, the UFC thing, the arch, the golden statue. I mean, come on,
man,
dude,
I am just
for
waiting
real.
on that fool to mess with Martin Luther King.
Oh well,
Because if you want to see a January 7th,
right?
you'd let him put his hands on Martin Luther King and see what
Yeah,
happens.
yeah. I can't
I know
imagine.
he's not watching the show. I don't want to give him no ideas, but
Yeah, no kidding.
can you
Yeah,
just see him like putting like you know a gold all of Martin Luther King? Man, I'm telling you, it's not out of the realm of reason. It's really not, unfortunately.
yeah. It's not, and you know, especially with, like, you know, Stephen Miller and stuff. He loves going after MLK and always bringing up stuff out of nowhere that later turns into policy. You know, it's just they're literally like, it's a meme presidency. You know, they're just a bunch of trolls,
Hmm.
you know, governing a country, and they're acting on a lot of their troll behavior, all this misinformation about immigrants and
Mhm.
blah blah blah. They're acting on it all, and that's what makes them so damn dangerous. You know,
What
it's
really
crazy.
just underscores what you just said is when you think about Texas and immediately Ken Paxton comes out, you know, and he really thinks he's going to, you know, come out with some smoke.
Yeah,
And the best thing he could come up with to say about James Tallarico is, you know, he's a vegetarian.
yeah, right. The
Like,
vegan
okay.
thing, like,
It's like, what? Okay. I didn't realize that was, you know,
hey man, potato, egg, and cheese tacos are delicious. I don't know what anybody's talking
I
about,
can't
but
say that I've had it, but I've
throw a
had
little refried,
potatoes and I've
yeah,
had eggs and I've had cheese
man,
separately.
throw a little refried beans and some bacon in there. You're good to go.
Okay, don't give me no ideas, man. I'm telling you, show up with a big old wrap next time.
Yeah, right.
It's
So
I
yeah,
mean, no, honestly, they just don't have any like substantive things to say.
I mean, you know, he's a four-term representative in the Texas House. So, like, he has a pretty good track record voting wise, bipartisan legislation. Like, it's really hard to back. The guy is
And he's
one of
not
the things
like
that bother me about Tallarico is he's too clean.
I
You know what I
was just
mean?
gonna say, he's a freaking Boy Scout, you
Yeah, the
know?
people that
I
are
mean,
too
but
clean scare me.
yeah, I mean, so it's just really crazy to me to listen to these guys. And I'm going to tell you, I think it's fear because
Oh
they're
yeah, for
pulling out
sure.
the old playbook. Trans people, he
Right.
might, you know, he thinks God is non-binary, and it's like, well, wait, you trying to tell me you think he's a dude?
Yeah.
You think God's like a guy just walking
Right.
around in a suit?
Or in
I
white
don't
robes, whatever.
I mean, really though, why even go into something like that?
Yeah, and you know, like somebody mentioned in the comments, he's white. It's going to be really hard to come at. Like, they had a hard time with Beto O'Rourke, and they focused on him doing his comment. Hell yeah, we're going to come for your guns in the primary in
Yeah,
2016. And you know, he couldn't shake that
but
statement,
he got
especially in Texas.
close.
He got
What
real
was he like
close.
within a percent or so?
Yeah,
I
not.
mean,
I mean,
Tallarico, I will give him credit, and somebody has sat him down and given him a handbook of comebacks. The best one I heard was he said something like, "I've got a record and he's got a criminal record or
Right.
something like,
You're right.
and that's what you got to do with guys like this because they're just bullies anyway.
And look, everybody in Texas knows how corrupt Ken Paxton is. We had to foot the bill for a lot of his stuff where he, we had to pay out
His
$6
court
million.
cases and
Yeah,
stuff
like
or what?
yeah, right. And then he was brought up on all kinds of like corruption stuff and some smoky backroom deals that he got caught doing. And it's just, he cheated on his wife,
Look,
like
man,
all these things. And
you
I
know
don't
how
know.
bad it is when your wife says, "I'm divorcing you on biblical."
Oh my God, dude.
I'm like, dang, she went Old Testament on his ass.
Right. And
It's like,
as
what in the world is that? I
right,
guess it
as,
means he cheated on her.
right, and as clean as her statement was, it was scorched earth, man. It was. When you say stuff like that on biblical grounds, it's
In
like
Texas?
yeah, that's pretty serious. Right, right.
Boy, what you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. The thing too was polling right before the runoff showed Tallarico performing better against Paxton than Cornyn because Cornyn had
Wow.
the track record.
So
Paxton
they
don't.
gave him exactly what he needed.
Apparently, and it didn't help that the voter turnout for Republicans was 61% lower for the
I saw
runoff
that.
than it was for the primary in March.
So wasn't this like the first time or first time in a long time
Yeah,
that more Democrats showed up than Republicans in the
Yeah.
primary to vote?
right.
That's
Right, and
nuts,
Republicans had the statewide election. The Senate race is statewide. For us,
right?
for Democrats, like it was all district races, runoffs and stuff.
Okay,
So,
explain that. So Tallarico, explain that. I guess because you had an incumbent, right? So it had to be statewide. Is that the reason?
well, no, it's a Senate race. You only get 2 senators.
Oh yeah,
Those
okay.
those are statewide. And then for example, for Menifee and Al Green race, that was just the 18th. So there was
right. I see Colin. What's his name? He won too, right?
Yeah, Colin Allred. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he was running for a state house seat, but yeah, he won. Yeah, the runoffs were, and that's the thing with Texas is even when they say we have record numbers in turnout, it's still low because 18 million voters, 18 and a half
Right.
million voters in Texas, and something like I don't know 1.5 million total showed up or 2 million showed up to vote yesterday. So
what do you think the odds are? You think
well,
Tallarico can pull it out?
I think he can. Again, Ken Paxton. I think so.
Man, if you can't beat, the thing, it's not so much whether he can beat Paxton. To me, it's more about are all these Republicans really going to vote for this?
Right.
And
that's the other thing too. We have to consider like the voter suppression in the state too. It's going to make it difficult for Tallarico, but Paxton is a very monotone kind of really not
he's
very
not really photogenic
charismatic at all
either.
No, he's extremely boring. And I don't know that I think Tallarico roasts him in a debate. I think he roasts him online. I mean, you're going to see a lot of Tallarico's team dunking on him because Republicans just can't keep up with the guy. Tallarico's younger. He's going to have the snap of the younger generations, the trash talk, all that stuff. He's always been that way. He's kept it civil. He's pretty well known in the state. Ken Paxton is, known everywhere in this state, but Tallarico's
for the wrong reasons, though, probably.
Right. And, I think that because he's a white guy, they're going to have to focus on a lot of other things, and those things are going to be real issues. I don't know that Tallarico takes the trans bait, or
that's just to me like it's almost like back in the Jim Crow era. I forget who it was. It was maybe Coolidge that was running for president, and the guy he was running against was like, "Y'all know he's black." It's just one of those. Just what do you mean he's trans? I mean, look at this guy. What are you talking about? They just got that trans word, and they can't say the N word, so that's the next best thing, right?
Right for them, yeah.
I mean, for them, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, they can throw out woke and DEI and all this other mess, but I don't know that Tallarico takes the bait. I mean, if he's smart enough, he doesn't validate their whining about trans people any of that stuff and sticks to issues. And I think honestly that might be what wins it. Because like in Texas, they're trying to bring back the whole fear of Sharia law bullshit. Like
Oh
it
boy.
was, dude, in all the ads for the last several months. There's all this stuff, you know, Chip Roy was running ads about Sharia law. I'm like, yo, get the hell out of here with that. You know,
What is that all about? I mean, what is it that they think Sharia law is exactly?
you know what?
I mean, they're the ones doing all this crazy fundamentalist Christian stuff. Do they not?
Right. So their thing, I think what it is with these conservative Republicans is they want to put Christianity into our legal system, right? Into our laws and, you know, everything we do. They think, despite it being unconstitutional, right? They think Muslims want to do the same thing despite it being unconstitutional. Like you can't see what I'm saying? Like the First Amendment is very clear.
Unconstitutional, man. You know,
it's very clear.
They're trying to create a $250 bill with Trump's face on it.
I mean, come on, dude.
Okay, what you gonna do with a $250 bill? Number one,
right?
You know, he would come up with like an odd number bill. You know, I mean, you know, I don't know. I guess you can obviously, you know, I can't break a $250 bill right now.
Right.
I don't know about you. Somebody shows up. Somebody shows up at the plant bus with a $250 bill. I'm gonna say, y'all got to go get some change.
Yeah, like
come back.
What am I? I'm not gonna frame a $250 bill either. I got groceries to buy.
A $2 bill, maybe.
Yeah, right.
Like, that bill ain't gonna stick around long at all.
No, hell no.
But I gotta tell you, with Trump's face on it, I'll just, if the bank try to give me one of those, I'll say, can I have a couple of hundreds and a 50?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You know, just go ahead and keep that, because no, I'm not doing that. Man, you brought up DEI, which brings me to this mess.
Yeah.
Holy moly. I understand that the Ellisons are trying to, show Trump that, you know, they're with him or whatever. But man, this is I would venture a guess that 60 Minutes is probably the highest rated news show on television for a long time.
Yeah,
right?
Probably. It's got the time slot.
Dude, these guys are just firing everybody. Yeah. Now, you see what I highlighted. You talk about DEI, and maybe, you know what, every show we should have a segment called, Meritocracy Today or something, because you got Barry Weiss sitting up here running a storied news organization. Ain't never done it before. She's literally starting off at the top. And the guy, they fired, man. I mean, I'll post this, I'll post a gift link to this article in the chat room if I can, but they have fired all the top people. They fired a bunch of folks today.
Yeah.
Editor that's been with the show like 20 or 30 years.
Yeah.
And they're replacing them with all these, sycophants. And I mean, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. And I don't think these people understand how unpopular they are. Right. You know how they remind me of people that walk around thinking they look good and they don't really look as good as they think. I mean, this is stupid. This is 60 Minutes, man. They have blown up 60 Minutes. They're basically blowing up CBS.
Right. One of the reporters said not to buy into whatever line they're giving you about, modernization and streamlining and stuff like that.
No, that's not.
She said it was Sharon Alfonsi. She said she was fired because she, basically refused to pull punches and pull anything out of a story. And, she did a lot of the investigative reporting on CCOT in El Salvador.
Right. She was the one, wasn't she the one that kind of pushed back right at the beginning when Barry Weiss was trying to make him rewrite the daggum, the clip or the show?
Yeah, she was. And I'm curious what she may have been working on that might have, prompted this, where, maybe somebody wanted some more editorial control and they were like, no, we're not taking that out of the story. And, here we are. Whole teams of people are getting,
I suspect that we're going to find out a little bit more as this goes on, but it just really, it bothers me. I have to be honest, because, and if y'all can understand this, I've always had people who did not think I was qualified for whatever it was I was doing.
Yeah,
You
same.
know, when I went to work, when I got in finance, not so much in Little Rock. Well, when I started my own firm, here I had been in the business, I don't know, 15 years. I start my own firm, and all of a sudden people are acting like I don't know what I'm doing or I don't know what I'm talking about. I would have meetings like with, state of Arkansas, this, that, and the other. And so that kind of, and then when I went to New York, same thing.
Mm.
I mean, I'm running a trading desk in New York, and I would have guys say to me, well, yeah, but y'all don't really know how to trade. So anyway, man, this whole merit thing, DEI thing, it gets under my skin. I'm
It
gonna
really
be honest.
does. And I called this out so many times this year when they fired, a black 4-star general to give
I
a
mean, what does a
lieutenant,
guy got to do?
right, to give some white dude lieutenant come out of retirement, give him, the stars, and then throw him in there to take over the job. I mean, this Dan Kane guy, he's just incompetent as hell. He doesn't belong on the Joint Chiefs.
Well, he certainly. I saw the other day he was testifying, and I think it was Seth Moulton, who I
Mm,
really don't necessarily like Seth Moulton up until, but he's a handy guy to have around when the conversation is about the military, because
right,
that's his background. And you
right,
look at him, and he looks like a damn GI Joe. I mean, he
right. He
just
does.
really is like a military looking guy. And he was asking Kane just basic stuff like, okay, so when we attacked Iran last summer and we said we destroyed all their shit, did we? And he just was like, shape shifting and going on. And he says, well, okay, so when we attacked Iran, was it like imminent? Because Trump said yesterday, dude, he was telling reporters that if we hadn't attacked Iran, they were going to have a nuclear weapon in 2 weeks.
Right, right.
Dude, but the thing is with Trump, everything takes 2 weeks.
Yeah, I
He's
mean,
going to have a health care plan week after next, man. I
that's true.
guarantee.
Everything was 2 weeks.
He's
Yeah.
been saying this for like 10 years. That all the shit that he said he was going to do, just give me 2 weeks and I'll have it. And what happens is he hopes you forget, or
Yeah.
he'll do something so freaking crazy between now and 2 weeks from now, you don't even think about that he owes you a healthcare
Yeah.
plan.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing. That's how the news cycle goes, right? Everything goes so fast, and a lot of it is the strategy that was Steve Bannon flooding the
Mhm.
zone with bullshit, and that's what it is. It's like with the whole whatever fund, the $1.7 billion for all them criminals who raided the Capitol. They start throwing out all this racist and xenophobic stuff, and a lot of people are pointing out they're just screaming all this so that you stop paying attention to the $1.8 billion they're about to steal from you.
Well, I guess it happened this afternoon. A whole bunch of judges have filed a lawsuit. Well, it's not a lawsuit. What they've done is they have gone to the judge, that when they basically when Trump dropped his lawsuit, they're going to this judge saying, you know what, you need to open this case back up because we think there was some collusion going on, which of course there was. So this may really not, I mean, we'll see what the judge does, but they're
Yeah.
saying you need to have a hearing, because what was supposed to happen was both sides were supposed to file briefs. And like 2 or 3 hours before the briefs were due, they said, you know what, we're dropping the case. And then they turn back around and act like they're doing some sort of settlement. Well, that should have happened in court
Right.
where the judge could approve it or not. And
Right.
so it's one of the sketchiest moves I've ever seen anybody try. But I still say, if we get back in there, you know what folks need to do? Every person of color, every black person needs to file for reparations.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I mean, if you want to talk about being harmed by the government, if that don't get it, nothing will.
Yeah. And when we get to the federal courts, when you're talking about the courts, A judge recently brought up how, Trump's Justice Department has ruined any presumption of regularity. And presumption of regularity is where a judge presumes that prosecutors did their job, did their due diligence, have their evidence, everything's in a row. And, just by scratching the surface, judges are seeing major problems and, fabricated things like the whole thing with Kilmar Abrego Garcia. They threw all his stuff out because they called it what is it,
Vindictive prosecution. Yeah.
prosecution, right? And that's part of that. That's the presumption of regularity. Previously presumed that prosecutors and the DAs and stuff had all their stuff in order, and this case dragged out for over a year only to get dismissed because nothing they
He's
presented to the
basically,
court.
you got to have an adversarial situation.
Right.
And
right.
I mean, what? So I'm suing the government that I also run.
Right.
That's just
Right.
stupid.
So what you did harm to yourself, because when you're suing somebody, you have to prove
That you were harmed.
Right. So that's what I don't get about Trump filing these lawsuits against the government. Is he arguing that he's harming himself? Because anything that he's accusing Biden of, he did to himself.
Trump just
in
wants
his first
money,
term.
dude. He don't care
Yeah.
about the rules.
Right. It's
Well,
about
you saw
money.
today, or actually, I guess it was last night. Now they're suing E. Jean Carroll.
Yeah.
Well, they're investigating
her. Right.
and it's like, oh, and they're investigating her for perjury.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm going to tell you, man, a lot of these lawsuits, probably 99% of what Trump does, he doesn't ever expect this stuff to go to court. He's trying to bankrupt people. That's what
Right.
he's doing. You suing you owe the woman what?
$80
million.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to sue her, but you still haven't paid her. It's just,
I mean, that's what wealthy people and corporations do, right? They'll drag you to court in this big old expensive case and bankrupt you. And you lose multiple times in that process. This is why a lot of people don't even bother with suing, because they don't want to be bankrupted in the process.
Yeah. Well, these law firms, I mean, you figure when you're talking about one of these giant law firms having to defend themselves against the government.
Yeah.
And from their point of view, they're like, well, dang, we get X percentage of our business from the government.
Right.
And so I understand the business case, but it still kind of sucks that nobody will really, these people you would expect could stand up and push back a little. And what's crazy about it, everybody that pushes back ends up winning.
Right.
Everybody. I mean, the law there have been a couple of universities that have pushed back, and the government goes, oh, okay, you know what? We're going to sue. We're going to go after this guy next.
Right. Right.
So I don't know, man.
And that's the thing. Like, it's with these media companies. Remember when ABC settled that $15 million suit? When every legal person out there were this is easily winnable for ABC. They were like,
but you see, these firms know that if they want to get a merger done, they want to buy a company,
or if they want to keep their license,
any kind of keep their license, they know they got to face these people,
right?
And that's that's what drives it. So, in more good news, look at this.
Awesome.
This you've heard people talk about the K-shaped economy. So to explain this is a little chart that I kind of cooked up, but it's basically using New York Fed data. They put out a study a few days back, maybe a week ago, and essentially what they're looking at is, just since the war started, how's that affecting? Now this is different from consumer sentiment, which is kind of feelings, and vibes, and they're asking people no, this is real money spent. So if you look at this, you can see the green up there is rich folks. They ain't really, bothered at all by gas prices.
Right.
But if you look, you see right there above where it says middle income, if you see that right there, it says January 25. And you start looking and people in the low income bracket, spending less and less and less on gas. I assure you, it's not because they've gone out and bought electric cars.
Right.
It's because they cannot afford, they can't afford to buy gas.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what they're doing. I don't riding a bus or
Buying just
carpooling with somebody. I don't
they're
know.
just buying the bare minimum
Yeah,
just to
they're
get to work and
just
back and
enough.
staying home. Yeah.
Yeah, they're buying,
Yeah.
$10 or $5 instead of filling up.
Right. And that just goes to show how, everything impacts poor people more. Like a toll road, for example, right? A lot of people can afford a $2 toll 3 times to go one way to work and one way to back. Poor people can't. They have to sit in traffic and red lights where all the smog is, and
Yep.
put more wear and tear on their cars and all. It's so much more expensive.
You see
And
that in New York a lot
big time, yeah, big time. Yeah, you see
because
it. You see it here in Houston too.
when I worked in New York, I was telling somebody the other day, in 12 or 13 years, I think I drove to work maybe a half a dozen times. I don't
Yeah,
think
if
it
you're
was,
living in New
I don't even
York,
think it was that many. And this is in the 2000s. I mean, I left New York in 2012. And now, New York is New York, so you can always find a guy. I lived in Jersey City technically, but it was an area that was sort of removed from the main part of Jersey City.
right?
So there was a ferry that would come, and I'd jump on the ferry, and that would take me across, and then I'd jump on. There's like a shuttle bus that would go, across town. So I had a ticket guy. And this guy would, I don't know how he would do it, but he'd have a pocket full of ferry tickets. He worked on the ferry.
Oh,
Okay, so he would have a pocket, but they just look like these raffle tickets,
right, right.
It wasn't electronic. I'm sure it is now, probably because of this guy. But but yeah, I was getting a 50% discount on ferry tickets. But
Yeah.
even so, man, it was $100 for a monthly subway pass back then.
Yeah.
$100 a month.
Yeah.
And the if you wanted to take like the Port Authority, the bus, that was probably, kind of the same thing. So you just think
Yeah.
about it. If you're only making 40 grand a year before taxes, that
Yeah.
ain't, and you don't live in the city, of course, because you can't
Right.
afford to. So you're in one of the boroughs, maybe outer boroughs. It's that's rough.
Yeah, it is.
So
And
I can't even imagine now how it is.
right. I seen like the average 1-bedroom apartment in New York City is like $3,000 right now. Yeah, and that's just ridiculous.
Dude, I will
Just
tell you something. When I moved to New York I moved there in late 2000. Yeah, late 2000. But the place I went to work for put me up in a hotel for 2 or 3 months while my family, Shannon and I could get moved and all that.
right.
When I got into an apartment, dude, I was paying $3,500 a month.
Wow.
Okay. Now I was getting my head knocked off too, in retrospect. It was some, because when you move up there, you don't know, right? You
Right.
don't know all the ins and outs.
Right.
And people who live in that area will know when I say this. So this was a guy who had an apartment. It was nice enough. Not fancy. Rooms were small. There was a bedroom that really was not much more than a closet, but they called it a bedroom. So anyway, but you couldn't put a bed in there. But I'm just thinking, this guy had a girlfriend, so he's living with her, and he had this apartment. Now, you're not supposed to do this because it was rent controlled.
Right.
I did not know what that meant until I opened my door one day and a whole bunch of legal papers fell all over the place where some process server had just hung a bunch of stuff on my door like, you're going to need to get out because you're breaking the law. And I'm like, what? It was actually good because it let me out of a bad deal.
Right.
But if you don't really understand New York, you just don't have an idea of how expensive it is. And and it's little things, like you said, just like getting to work.
Right.
It's not just driving your car. It's driving your car through toll after toll. You got to have an easy pass. all that kind of stuff. So it's not cheap.
Yeah. Yeah, Houston's becoming like that. I mean, we're much more sprawled out than New York City is, but we have the toll roads and stuff, and it's expensive. And you look, if you're on a toll road, you look in the feeder road down there, and that's where all the people who can't afford to be on the toll road is. That's where I'm usually.
Wait, what do you call it?
The feeder road, the access road.
Okay. Oh, yeah, they're on the access to the. Yeah. They're not on the freeway.
Right, and they have to sit through lights and traffic and all that stuff, and it's just it seems pretty unfair to me because why all the taxpayers put their they use taxpayer dollars to build this toll road. Everybody pitched in,
and the people who are not driving on it are also paying.
Right,
and can't afford to drive on it.
Right. You paid to build it, but you can't afford to. They want to do that. They want to put tolls on everything. It's we build the infrastructure for the internet. Now they tax us to use it. And it's and somebody's getting rich off of it. Same with our grid, electric grid here, our water systems. It's all the same thing like that. And then they put tolls on everything, and you have to pay a fee to use the thing you paid to build, and it's ridiculous to me. But so goes a capitalist society, I guess. I was
gonna say, come on, man. That's just capitalism. That's just how it works, right? Yeah. I gotta tell you, when I moved to North Carolina, I drove so little in New York City when I was working up there. It was almost like I had to learn all over again how to drive. Not so much how to operate a car, but just how to drive in traffic. People would be blowing at me because I wasn't going fast enough.
Right.
And you have to drive everywhere here.
Yeah,
there's no like mass transit. There's nothing. I mean, even like, so Wilmington is, depending on where I'm going, just to get into Wilmington, it's probably 25 miles away. Okay. So even in Wilmington, you can't get a bus everywhere. There's certain places that, the buses just don't go.
Right.
And really, there's nothing. I mean, so a couple of summers ago, I think I told you this. I Ubered a couple of summers ago.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of did it on a dare, but it was Shannon's fault, man. She was like, "Oh, you ain't gonna Uber. What are you talking about?" And I was like, "I will."
Yeah,
I will too, Uber. Yeah, she just trying to figure out how to get me out of the house, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, the biggest surprise to me was how you have in your head, especially when you've been in a place like New York. I'm thinking it's going to be, people going to dinner and going to the movies. I'll bet you 90% of the people that I Ubered were going to work. And I'm talking about Taco Bell, McDonald's.
Right.
So they're paying $10 to go to work each way. And I would just see this and I'm like, how can this even be working? Financially, how does this? And a woman told me one day, because you get somebody in your car and it's clean and you got some music playing and folks just start talking. And this woman told me, she said, well, you know what? I can't afford a car note. This is cheaper. Can't afford insurance, on a car. So, it costs me a lot every day, but it's less than if I had to go, come up with a down payment and then have a monthly, monthly car payment.
Right. One of the sad parts about that is that that person can't put aside any money to buy a car because they're spending it all just on Uber. Right.
Exactly. I saw an article in the paper this morning. I think it was in the Wall Street Journal, talking about the car industry and how they're like, maybe not a record low, but people have stopped buying new cars.
Yeah.
Just not buying them. People, they're just like, because the entry level now is I think the median price for automobiles now is north of 30,000.
Yeah.
Probably closer to 40.
I saw the commercial the other day. Funny we're talking about this, for a Buick, a real small little Buick SUV for like 27. And I was like, that's actually not bad considering.
I'll tell you what you do
these days.
Go look at a new truck
Oh
But
hell no! My son just bought one like last year,
ooh,
like
ooh,
a couple years ago.
man, let me tell you
Ridiculous.
something. We got the plant bus, right?
Yeah,
Plant bus ain't going nowhere with diesel at six
it's a
dollars a
greenhouse.
gallon. It's a greenhouse. It's a pretty greenhouse. It is sitting there, and we're telling folks, you know what? Come on over to the house.
Yeah, the
You
plant
can
bus is
come.
parked over here.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody knows where it is, dude.
Right.
And they'll just, yeah. I mean, we still have like we've got an event Saturday, but we
Okay.
have to really be, circumspect about which, somebody asks us about going to Raleigh, and we're like, oh no,
Yeah. Right.
because dude, we'd spend every penny we made just on
Yeah.
gas.
Yeah. I was about to say. Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, I don't know what diesel's over there, but it's like around $4 or $5 here.
oh man, no, it's it is approaching $6 a gallon
Oh
here.
wow. I think we're around 5. Yeah.
Yeah, last time I filled up, I think it was like 5.60 a gallon, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was when the epiphany. I'm looking at that gas tank and I'm like, yeah, we're not going nowhere for a minute.
I'm sure that
I
thing has a
mean, it's
huge
crazy.
tank. I'm sure it has a huge tank, right?
It does. Yeah. Yeah, it does. I mean, but we generally, because you can't really fill it full like you would do your car, because the way it's a 1995 school bus. So,
Yeah, and it's
you
diesel,
can't,
right?
and it's
Yeah.
diesel and
Yeah, you
gas.
don't
So
top them off.
yeah,
Yeah.
you don't want to top it off. So we generally operate in 50s, like $50 worth. And that used to get us to like a quarter of a tank. Now it's more like a half a tank, maybe.
Wow.
So yeah, it's noticeable.
Yeah,
So,
and nobody's buying new cars. And like used car prices are through the roof.
oh yeah,
Yeah, like people are selling cars with 300,000 miles for 10 grand. I'm like, you
dude,
gotta be
I'm
kidding
looking
me.
at a truck, because of that business. It'd be nice to have just to be able to, move stuff around or whatever.
Right.
And I mean, you're talking about 5-year-old trucks, and the prices are like what used to be new car prices.
Yeah.
I was looking at I haven't done anything because I'm just still getting over the shock, because you're thinking used car used to be you could write a check.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. You got to go get some financing for this stuff because they're still 40 grand, 50 grand, for a 3 or 4 year old truck. So you
Yeah.
figure what in the world? And then you got like, I get on Chat GPT, what's the best, and they'll tell you the most popular stuff and help you evaluate for your situation. And man, it's just discouraging.
It
Really
really
is.
is. It really is. I see, my kids struggle to get by. And yeah, it's extremely discouraging because everything's just getting more expensive. And they're talking about having to sell stuff or, maybe having to get rid of a vehicle or something, get something
Wow.
cheaper or find something used. It's just, yeah, it's gotten pretty bad. Yeah, it's hard. You see more multi-generational households than ever before. They I don't know. Everybody's making all these claims about the housing market and blah blah, but you know, the reality is nobody can afford anything. Even Harris is like, don't get me wrong, 25 grand for a down payment toward a down payment on a house is freaking
There would
wonderful.
have been something, but
Wonderful.
I
But
mean,
like with
what are you
these
gonna do with that?
prices, right? Like builders are just going to be like, "Oh, you get a free 25 grand." Just so happens this house just went up $25,000, and that's how they pocket that money, and you don't really get a better deal. And I don't, these days when my son and my daughter-in-law bought a house last year, they spent a lot of money just to get in, and
Mhm.
that 25 grand maybe would have maybe covered half of it. It was still a lot.
But dude,
It
even
was
if you're only paying 10% down,
Yeah,
the median home price is like $400,000.
yeah, right.
So
Three
you
and
got to
four hundred
have
thousand.
40. You need 40 grand.
Right, right,
You don't need. I mean, it would have been better than where we are now, where you get nothing. I mean, we were
right.
really just had our fingers crossed for Harris
But
because
that's
of
not
she had that new business thing, 50
right. That
grand.
too.
That would have been a real life changer for our
Yeah, I
business.
mean, the 25 grand would have. would have only gone so far. And that's not really an answer to the problem, right? Like
Well, we
you
need
have
more
to,
houses.
right?
And
You need,
we need these venture capital guys to quit buying up. Well, I mean, there are neighborhoods near me on the mainland, nice neighborhoods, and it's nothing but houses for rent.
yeah, build to rent communities. We
Yeah,
have them everywhere here.
yeah.
Yeah, that's their solution to the housing crisis, to make you rent forever. You'll never own a piece of land. You'll never own a house
Yeah.
because they're going to have it all. And I wrote about this like a year or two ago because there was an article in Newsweek that was, blaming immigrants for the housing
Man, you
costs and
think
like,
immigrants are coming over here buying $400,000 houses?
yeah, no,
Let me
right,
tell you. Yeah, JD Vance peddles that lie quite frequently.
right,
You
right,
know,
and they're,
blame the yeah, it's just, that's just silly.
but the whole thing was there was all these big banks that were putting their money into build to rent communities, and they were, talking about how this was the solution to the housing crisis.
Hmm.
And I'm like, if you're going to build all these houses, why not try to sell them to people who need a house instead of forcing them to rent? And that's not a question they want to answer because their solution is worth billions, if not $1 trillion.
Hmm.
And it's not a solution. It doesn't help or benefit anyone. My cousin moved here to Houston. He lives in a build to rent community, and there are some perks, right? Every lawn is mowed, like you don't have to pay for lawn service, but it's still extremely expensive.
Yep.
um, and you're giving your money away. You're not building equity. If there's something wrong with the house, it takes forever to get it fixed. It's just, yeah, that's where we're headed, and I don't really like it one bit. There's the I don't know, what exurbia is, the space between suburbia and rural America. Well, there's a
Okay.
lot of people. There's a lot of people buying land in, exurbanites buying land in between rural and suburbia here in Texas. And that's where they're going because that's pretty much the only place you can get anything that you can possibly afford that has some space where you're not on top of each other and you're not renting.
I
So
hear you.
yeah, it's
So I
crazy.
just posted in the Substack chat room a piece that I wrote
Yeah, I
in 2021 talking about this issue. And
think
the
I
reason
remember
I
that one.
wrote it because we were living near Raleigh, and we rented we're looking for a house to rent. We had been staying with relatives because we didn't know what we wanted to do. And I was, job hunting, and we had to get our kids in school and all that stuff. And we went to this neighborhood. First of all, no real estate agents. You just scan the QR code, and
Right.
they send you a text with whatever the code for the, and you get the key out of the lockbox and just look at it and do you want it or not, right? And
Yeah.
and we noticed this entire neighborhood was the same realtor, and it was a company called American Homes for Rent,
Hmm.
right? Which is owned by some billionaire who also owned, it's one of the storage places. I think it's called Public Storage or something like that. You see
Probably,
them
yeah.
all over the country. Same guy. So he's got you in the rent house, and if you got too much stuff, he's got you a storage space too, right? That at the time, I think, man, folks can look at the article and check me because it's been a few years since I've looked at it. But it was like an enormous percentage of all the houses in Atlanta were owned by private equity.
Yeah.
And it was this guy, I think, Invitation Homes, all these different homes for rent kind of things. And that was in 2001
Yeah.
when you could, you know, still kind of afford a house.
Right.
So, yeah. Well, man, it's that time again. Boy, we can
Wow.
buzz through an hour pretty quick.
Yeah, no
So
kidding.
I promised that I was going to end on some good news. So set your calendars. Monday, 4 o'clock. Yes, I will be interviewing Miss Daryl Fairweather, who is the chief economist for Redfin, which, if you have never heard of Redfin, I'm going to be willing to bet you've probably heard of Rocket Mortgage or Rocket Money. What? So it's the Rocket companies, and they're all subsidiaries of the Rocket companies, as is Redfin. So what we're trying to do is sort of take things up a notch and trying to, just have some conversations that are kind of substantive and not.
Right.
I mean, I enjoy talking about what Trump did wrong today, but I think it could be a whole lot more helpful to the people that listen to us to be able to ask questions and talk to somebody who really, really knows what's going on. And
Yeah.
so I interviewed Daryl, I think it was about a year ago, but we didn't
I
have
was
this
about to
set
say,
up.
yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have this set up, and I'm still learning how to do this. So this should be a whole lot better. And in fact, Sherry Dunn is going to co-host with me.
Oh,
And
cool.
so she's a for real journalist. In
Right.
fact, I
What are you
always say,
saying, man?
no, I'm saying I'm putting myself in that category too. She's actually
I was
done
just
the
messing
job.
with you.
No, man, no shade on you. I'm saying this woman did it for a living. She's an attorney
Yeah.
and she's been a broadcast journalist. So
Yeah, I love Sherry, man.
so this now I will tell people this is a the way this is going to work. The live stream is for paid subscribers, and then we'll after the fact we'll put out clips. It'll only be on Substack. It won't be on YouTube. It will later though.
Right.
Ultimately, it'll get distributed. But in the meantime, if you want to be in on the discussion, paid subscribers, I've already set up a chat. So paid subscribers that, if you have questions you want to ask, we've got a couple of days that, you've got the opportunity to do that. And I have reduced the price of paid subscriptions, I think, by 20% or something like that. So, but this is the kind of thing that paid subscriptions to me should help us do, more of this kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. And, hopefully it's something everybody can get behind and get something out of.
That's going to be a good one.
I think so.
Considering what we were just talking about,
Well, yeah, I mean,
yeah, right. Perfect timing.
I mean, that's what we're going to be talking about is
Yeah.
housing, what her view is on where things are going. Just to give you some background on her, I mean, she's brilliant. She graduated. I mean, she's got economics degrees from like University of Chicago and MIT, and it's just like, yeah. I mean, she even right now she's on an advisory board for I want to say maybe the New York Fed. I forget which one of the branches of the Federal Reserve. They have an advisory board of she's not a member, but they just they have outside economists that advise them. So I think it's going to be great. I'm really excited about it, and I think having Sherry on there too is really going to add to the conversation, and it's something that I'm going to we're going to try to do with some other folks that are, sort of high level thinkers and know what they're talking about.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, man. So I guess that's all I got, man. You got anything else?
I mean, no, I'm working on some more stuff about Cuba, digging into a lot of the financiers of Cuba's oppression here in the U.S. Some news that came out recently, Guatemala decided they're going to do some joint strikes with the U.S., counter narcotic strikes. And Ecuador, or was it Ecuador? I think it was Ecuador. Yeah. And Daniel Noboa, they are seeking to recall him and his vice president. So a lot of things happening in Latin America, man. Like Noboa's in it.
Man, these guys I've never seen what's the word? Like jingoism, man. These dudes are just trying to start wars all over the place.
I didn't even get to mention it, but did you see the Honduras Gate thing?
No.
Man, I wrote about it a little bit ago, a few days ago, and that's a whole thing where.
So what's going on?
You got Javier Milei, the Daniel Noboa in Ecuador, the president in Honduras, Asfura, and then some other people, including Donald Trump and even Benjamin Netanyahu. They're all part of this thing. They're creating this media company or something in D.C. with the help of their Republican friends so they could spread misinformation about the Brazilian elections and the Mexican elections coming up.
Man.
So, and they apparently, I don't know, maybe Honduras Gate kind of capped them in the knees because they haven't had a chance to really go after Petro. but the Colombian election is in like 3 or 4 days on the 31st, I think. Yeah, 3 days. And there's a lot of things going on with that too. They're trying to manipulate and, get into that election and try to swing it for the far right guy. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of crazy, man. They're getting involved in a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff.
If they would put, like, if Trump would put just some of that energy in, like, just do one thing for somebody other than yourself.
One thing good.
Just one thing. I mean, honestly, I would not get mad at him if he did just, one thing right. But I ain't gonna hold my breath.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, folks. Well,
all right, guys.
Every Thursday at 6. So we will see you folks next week, and try to stay out of trouble and watch your back, because I'm telling you, this stuff is getting crazy.
Yeah.
But we'll make it through, though. I'm confident that we will.
Yeah,
at least I'm hopeful. So until next time, we'll see you on the other side, folks.
Bye, guys.
Take care.